Hey, we're back, Jim. How are you today?
I am great. How about you, Joe?
Pretty good. I guess this is season 3. I don't know if that's the new math we're using. Episode 1.
We didn't get canceled yet?
Oh, I think we did. I don't think there's anything in that tape,
Okay.
but that's okay.
Okay.
And this is Southwick Stories, I believe.
It is.
All right, that's the one we're going to go with. And we brought someone with us?
Yeah, we've gone international today.
That's what I'm hearing, right?
we
It
have-
wasn't the Mayflower, though.
Well, no, it's
You
a
know,
little late for the
little
Mayflower.
late.
I guess he
Well,
missed,
judging by his age, he's probably,
he missed,
okay.
missed that one, but and
just.
the next 10 after. But I'd like to introduce Neil Parkin of Southwick, England. Now officially our sister community
Yep.
from. And I'll let Neil do most of the talking, but from Southern England. So welcome to Southwick Stories, and we'll visit a little bit about Southwick, England, and maybe close out with what you've seen here in Southwick, USA.
Fine. Yeah.
Sure.
That's fine.
So tell us a little bit about Southwick, England, and where that is, and what it's like there. And
Southwick, England's on the south coast, and we always say if the wind's blowing from the south, we get a slight hint of garlic, because it's the French are just over, it's only 60 miles away. But yeah, right on the beach.
Here that's manure, but anyways,
Yeah,
continue.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we're next door to Brighton and Hove. Brighton's the biggest city on the south coast, so people might know Brighton and Hove. We're next door to that. And we're on the River Ada, well, near the River Ada. But we're just a little town, one of the smallest towns in the country, actually. But it's been there a long time. You know, just down the road from where I live. They were digging and they found a Roman villa. So the Romans were there. Our church is 900 years old.
Wow.
We've got a manor cottage that was built, 100 years before Columbus, wasn't it? You were told when you were shown around it.
that's the official version. I don't want to mess with that.
Absolutely not. The manor house is a bit newer. It's only 300 years old, the manor house, because the original one was burnt down, because, there was always a bit of trouble with fire in the old days before they had fire alarms. But it's a nice little community.
Population? Roughly?
2,600.
Wow.
It's a very small town.
Yeah,
but
nice
it's
little,
part-
yeah.
For government-wise, unlike you've got your thing here, it's part of a thing called Ada District, ADUR, which is the river that runs through the middle of the district. It's named after that. And it's Ada, Southwick, Shoreham, which is a lot bigger town. That's even more historic than Southwick. Then you've got the River Ada, and then you've got Lancing and Sompting, which is 2 villages. And Lancing is the largest village in England. It's got a population of 20,000, and it's still a village. And then we've got a funny little place called Coombs, which is a hamlet that 900 years ago, at the time of William the Conqueror, had a population of 96. And when it was 1,000 years since that, the Doomsday Book, 1,000 years since that was done, we did a little survey, and the population was 96 still. So, they're not growing soon.
No, they're not.
But, yeah.
And that's where William the Conqueror came ashore.
No,
No,
about 40 miles along the coast.
Oh,
You
okay.
came
Okay.
ashore there. But it was used because, say, Shoreham particularly was a shipbuilding place. It's the place Richard the Lionheart sailed from England to France to go on the Crusades from. He sailed from there. And Little Coombs, was famous in the Doomsday Book for its salt pans, because salt was obviously value in medieval times, and wool for the sheep.
So nowadays, what would most people in Southwick, how would they earn their living?
By driving to Gatwick Airport to work. It's a bit of a dormitory town. They go to Gatwick Airport. A lot of them work sort of Gatwick, that sort of thing. Or there's a couple of small factories there.
So if you were to decide to drive into London
You wouldn't.
some morning, but if you did, how long would it take you to drive into London?
If the traffic was good, hour and a half.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to go there anyway because of all the congestion charge and the pollution charge and this charge and that. You get on a train,
Okay.
and the train gets you there in about an hour. 'Cause
Okay.
it stops a lot,
Yeah.
the one from there. But you go along to Brighton,
So
you get on the main line one, and it's London in 54 minutes.
So are you closer to France or to London as the crow flies?
There's not a lot in it.
Not a lot.
No, City of London, France,
Yeah.
we're nearer to.
You're nearer
Yeah,
to France,
France,
right across
yeah.
the
Yeah.
across the English Channel.
Yeah, yeah, but London's growing and growing all the time. So the outskirts of London's nearer.
Now,
And they used to visit us quite often, the French.
and why?
They like
Because of how charming you are? Or
no, they like the English women, and
they
used
like
to-
the English women.
They used to like burning down the churches and do it a bit very similar to the Vikings used to do. Yeah, they did that for quite
And
a
the
while.
Vikings visited too?
Yeah, the Vikings, they all came our way.
They
yeah.
all came your
Yeah,
way.
sounds that way, huh?
Romans,
One time or another, someone will stop.
Romans,
Yeah.
Vikings,
it's
French.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the joy of being right on the coast.
Yeah, literally,
And,
yeah.
and by a river estuary even more so, because the French and the Vikings, they go up the river because the boats were safer there,
Gotcha.
and then they move out from there.
Now, we're the only Southwick that we know of in the USA.
Right.
But I think you are one of several Southwicks in the UK. Do you know how old the name Southwick is and how it came to be for your village?
Yeah, I think there's one more up in the north of England, but ours is Saxon. Ours derives from Saxon, so that's over 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Over 1,000 years, and we think we think. Do you want me to talk about how we might be connected?
Yeah.
I didn't know this till Jim here came to visit us first, and we had our local historian explain to us how back in 16 something, the local reverend of my church I go to had two sons, and I can't remember which one came over to the Americas. Was it Richard or
I'm
Thomas?
not going to remember either.
No. Anyway, one of them became a mathematician
Mm-hmm.
and invented the division sign, which is used all over the world. The other one, the younger one, I think it was Thomas, went to the Americas to find his fortune, and he landed in a place called New Amsterdam,
Yeah.
and
His last name was Pell.
his name was Pell, Thomas Pell. I think it was Thomas Pell or Richard Pell. One was one was the other. Anyway, landed there and bought some land off the local Native Americans. He bought with a hogshead of rum, which is like a gallon barrel of rum.
Right.
And the local Dutch governor of New Amsterdam didn't like it because the the Native Americans didn't have much of a concept of, ownership, because
Sure.
the land was the land.
Right.
Anyway, and they had a bit of an argument, a bit of a bust up, and he called out Mr. Pell called out the local militia, who were in his bit, which were British, and there happened to be a couple of British warships in the harbour at New Amsterdam, and before you could say boo, New Amsterdam became New York, and Peter Stuyvesant, the Dutch governor,
The last Dutch governor.
the last Dutch governor, got kicked out, and Mr. Pell became the first British governor of New York. And New York became a very important Royal Naval harbour, because it's such a natural harbour, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the area of land he bought for the hogshead of rum is called the Bronx these days, wherever that is. But he went on to buy Winchester County, New York, Pelham House, which is still there with all its grandeur and grounds. That was built by his descendants,
Sure.
on their land. And he then went on to buy a bit of Connecticut, I think he was just, everywhere.
Yeah.
And he came up to Massachusetts, and his ancestors certainly did, descendants.
Yeah.
And we think, pretty certain, that when your little chap from Southwick was sent to Boston to get a name,
Right.
he bumped into somebody who said Southwick. After the governor, should we say?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. So and that was it.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Because it couldn't have been the one up north in England, because nobody would have understood them.
No.
So the accents
Right.
are so bad, but no, they did.
Had to be this one.
And it's certainly
they
not a
did
French
come
or a Viking name.
No, it's not.
No.
Good Saxon name from
Yeah.
southern England. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And well, thanks for sharing that story with us.
Little history lesson.
Oh, that was a long way around.
A little
Sorry,
complicated.
sorry.
No, it's all good.
How Joe does on the quiz later.
Yeah, I know. I didn't take any notes.
Well,
No notes.
I want to
think
see
you
what
were
survives the cutting room floor.
Committing to memory all this.
So your form of government is, with that town, that small, selectmen, or what would you have?
Well, it's a district council, which is, as I say, Southwick, Shoreham, Lancing, Sompting, and Coombs.
So 5.
Yeah, and it's population of it's about 60,000 now.
Gotcha.
And it's called a district council, and we have councillors and leader of the council who runs the place,
Right.
and the chairman of the council.
So how many
that kisses
councillors?
babies?
How many councillors for
29.
29?
Wow.
And you're one of those councillors.
Yes, yep.
And
Up
so
until this May, I was leader of the council. So I
because
was,
yours was the majority party, correct?
Yeah. And they elected me to be their leader, and I had been for 24 years.
Well,
The buck
congratulations
stopped
on
with
that.
me, yeah.
But that could change with the next election, right?
It did in May.
Your party could take over again.
I planned for it to.
You plan for it too.
Yeah.
So this is just a rest stop on the way to regaining.
Getting your vacations in while
Regaining
you have
control.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. I've got nothing to do at the moment. It's quite,
Yeah,
So,
I understand.
He's probably looking for some political advice as to how it's done in the
Yeah.
in the colonies.
Yes, he's going to leave with a lot of information by next week. Yes.
He is charming.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
he's got that going for him.
Yeah, we can't do TV ads like you do over here.
Oh,
No.
you can't.
No, we have a set, even for members of parliament,
Oh, really?
they have a set amount you can spend. And you have to
And-
really stick to it.
Right.
And like councillors like me, I think our limit's like sort of £5,000.
Okay.
So you can't have posters in the streets, you can't, and all this on the TV, it's freaking me out. The presidential.
Oh, every other
ones.
commercial.
Every other commercial.
Yeah.
And I mean, they
Good,
don't
bad,
hold-
or indifferent, don't matter. It's a,
No, and they don't hold punches, do they?
oh yeah, no, they're not
Whoa.
bashful. Yeah.
So how do you campaign for office if you can't buy television and posters and
You go around sticking leaflets through doors, and then you go around knocking on the doors,
okay?
hoping they're in.
Or you can
most of the time
Drive
they're
a taxi cab or something, maybe.
not. Yeah, but I drive a taxi cab
Like
in Brighton and Hove, not in
Oh, not in your own district.
No, in my own
Oh, what were
district,
you
sir.
thinking? Right.
earning money. I was thinking,
Yeah,
because
of
Brighton
course,
and
you
Hove
gotta
has
have money.
tourists where
Yeah.
we are. Oof, no.
What does it pay to be in the council? What's the top earner get?
That-
Here, in this town, it's $5,000 to be a selectman for the year. We have one fee per each one of them, 5,000, whether you're the chairman or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what do you?
I wouldn't get out of bed for that.
Judging by the way you're walking, you're gonna have a hard time getting in bed. So.
Yeah. No. When I was leader,
Yeah.
I was getting £28,000.
Yeah.
I'm now leader of the opposition,
Yep.
and I
And
get
you owe money?
Sorry?
You owe money now or no?
No. I get about 9,
9. All right.
but I don't do anything. It's amazing.
So when you
You're not allowed to do anything. It's not my decisions to make.
No, understood.
But I wait for them to make a mistake, and then I'm on them.
Yeah.
And it's in all the local papers, on the local radio.
Right.
This bunch of idiots have done this, that, and the other. So it's good fun.
Not much has changed from either country. So
No,
go ahead.
no.
So how much when the Aider Council has to make a decision on something important, is it typically a party line vote, or do you generally agree with the other party on what needs to be done? How controversial is it?
It depends.
It depends.
It really depends on what it is.
So what would be a controversial topic where you would have to yell across the table, no, we can't do it that way?
What's exciting? What's going on? Yeah, what's exciting lately? Housing, like what in your
Well,
world?
housing, yeah.
Housing's got to be huge because it's tight.
Yeah, housing's really huge.
You have sewers, I think, right? You have water, you have sewers.
Yeah, sewers.
Yeah, being such an old district. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've got all the amenities.
Yeah.
And in fact, where there's been a lot of problem with sewers, fairly main roads being closed from now till Christmas, while they enlarge the sewer.
There you go. Right.
Because the new houses going in, it wasn't going,
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah, and that is one that's one of the main things that lost us the elections, because my opposition
Right.
were blaming us for everything, even though they knew it wasn't.
Wow.
It was being imposed. The numbers were being imposed.
Yeah, it happens.
And yeah, it happens. Yeah. And they were blaming us for everything, and now. And they'd stop it, they'd do this, they'd do that.
Yeah.
And now they're in charge. It's, come on then, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And of course they're not. They can't.
No, I understand.
In fact, they're now in charge of government.
Right.
And they've been told they've got to build even more.
Right.
So there's going to be a few unhappy people.
Yeah.
But it's
It's exciting.
it's exciting.
So how often does the council meet?
Full council 5 times a year. That's
5
all.
times
Oh,
a year?
that's it,
Oh,
huh?
okay.
Yeah, but we've got committees
Sure.
doing things.
Given the pay, it's sounding even better, isn't
Right.
it?
5 times a year for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the executive.
Do you have to wear a white wig?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No. Worthing, next door to us, only very recently voted to do away with. They used to have red robes with ermine collars,
Right.
and the ladies wore a tricorn hat and white gloves. It was like something out of Dick Turpin. Or your War of Independence. It was
Right.
funny lot there. Anyway.
Not you.
No, we're very modern.
Yeah.
But,
They do have some really cool stuff in their council building that goes way back.
Yeah.
They
The
did,
history, yeah.
did have some
Yeah,
really
it's-
cool regalia. Looks like that. Those kinds of things.
Yeah. Right back to, I think the oldest thing there is we've got a lobster helmet from the English Civil War.
Wow.
From Cromwell,
Yeah.
which of course he was on his way to come here, wasn't he? When King Charles I upset him so much, he stayed and joined in with the Civil War. But his family were actually packing up everything to come to America.
Who was that was going to come to America?
Oliver Cromwell,
Oh, Oliver Cromwell. But
who, the Lord High Protector
yeah.
of England. Chopped off Charles I's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yes, it does.
Sometimes there's a disagreement.
Yeah. Hang around long enough, you'll see stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll say, the executive of the council, though, going back to that,
Yeah.
when I was leader, we meet publicly, monthly, not publicly, monthly,
Right.
and it's almost a full-time job.
Gotcha.
It's almost a full-time job. You get because any decisions, one of my cabinet, as it was called,
Right.
had to make a decision, and then 9 out of 10 times they'd phone me up and say, "What are we going to do about?"
Yeah.
And so it was full on, and since May I've been really lost because I've suddenly got a life again.
Yeah.
So I've come here.
Yeah. Let's come here.
Well, we're glad you did.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I've got a
And, see what things are like on the other side of the pond. Although this is not your first time to America.
Oh goodness me, no.
No.
No. This is I don't know. 3rd New England.
Third New England.
Used to go skiing in Killington in
Yep.
Vermont.
Skiing in Killington.
Yeah, flew in and out of Boston for that. But Florida so many times I can't remember.
Yeah.
And I've done the West Coast as well. I've done California, Arizona, Nevada. No, yeah.
English folks like
Some
Mickey
papers.
too, huh? Mickey Mouse.
Oof, absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's a Mickey Mouse addict over there. Well, Cinderella princesses, sorry.
Yeah.
All of the above. Disney's got one for everybody.
Yeah.
They
got it covered.
Got a mascot for everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what do people do for fun in Southwick, England?
Got a few good restaurants. More good pubs.
Pubs, yeah.
Pubs are always good. Some of the pubs have got restaurants,
Yep.
so you've got it covered on all angles. And we're, sort of 20 minutes on a bus from central Brighton, where all the nightclubs are for the younger people,
Right.
and all that sort of thing. And there's things to do. Brighton's got casinos and theatre and things like that.
Okay, so
Also, it's an hour by train to central London, so you can go to book up for a West End theatre show. I mean, my son and his girlfriend are forever up to London to see some group or somebody that's on tour up
Sure.
there. So there's quite a bit of that.
is there a local soccer team that everybody roots for?
Brighton and Hove Albion.
Okay, and
They're in the Premier League.
how do they do?
Very good. At the
Okay.
moment. I think they're 5th or 6th, something like that. They're doing pretty good. Yeah, and their training ground is in Lancing, and it was council land, and I sold it to them.
Oh, you did?
I sold it to them.
Okay.
It was a overgrown field being used by dog walkers as as what dog walkers do.
Yeah.
And they wanted a big flat area of land to build elite football academy, and it is. It's whoa, and they've got a women's team that's one of the best in the country as well, and we got a lot of money out of it.
So,
I'm pleased to say.
with the kids, would they mostly play soccer after school weekends, or are
There's
there
a lot of soccer teams.
a lot of soccer teams? Yeah,
Yeah, a
very
lot of
popular sport.
Very, very popular. Probably, it is the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this Brighton Hove Albion have got Albion in the community, where they have players, not their top team, but other ones, go out and do football with the kids and all that sort of thing. And yeah, there's a couple of cricket clubs as well.
Okay.
The game that you Americans will never understand, like we don't
Nope.
understand baseball. And rugby.
Rugby. Okay.
Rugby. There's a few rugby clubs, which is like similar-ish
Yeah.
to your football.
A little rougher, I think, isn't it?
A lot rougher, and they don't wear armour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. They say that the saying in England is rugby is a game for thugs played by gentlemen, and football is a game for gentlemen played by thugs.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
But rugby is, if you haven't seen rugby, it
Yeah.
is really full on.
We,
One of our best players, I'll never forget, he won the Rugby World Cup against South Africa for us, and he was playing with a broken arm.
Yeah.
Actually playing with a broken arm.
we keep hearing on this side of the pond that maybe the NFL will expand overseas and that London might get a franchise. Do you think a lot of English people want an NFL franchise in their country, or they prefer?
Brighton's got an American football team.
They do.
Yeah, they play at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Nancy Englishmen dancing around in all the padding and everything, but they're not big enough. I mean, your guys are big, aren't they?
Yeah.
You got to be, or you don't last.
Yeah.
very long.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Whereas,
yeah.
I mean, our best players, they wouldn't touch it. They'd be playing rugby.
Yeah.
Because they pay, I don't know, they don't get paid in your sort of
Right.
bloke standards, but they do very well out of it.
Gambling over there? Can you bet on all that?
Oh yes, bet on anything.
Bet on anything. Yeah.
Anything, anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere can have a casino. You just got to apply for a license. There isn't
Okay.
one in Ada.
Right.
There's not enough people. But Brighton's got 2.
Right.
But every little area's got a betting shop, as we call it, where you go in and bet on
Yeah.
whatever you want to bet on.
Whatever. I got
When
you.
it's next going to rain or whatever, they
Yep.
give you odds on it.
So
You
they'll
know.
take the odds no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go extreme trivia with you here
Go on.
and give you a lyric from a
The
song
Beatles.
that was popular when I was growing up. So the lyric goes something like, from Brighton down to Soho, he
Oh.
must have played them all. He's a pinball wizard.
Yeah.
Is that the Brighton that you keep referring
That's
to?
the one.
It's the one.
That's
So
the
do they still play pinball there?
No, there's arcades with pinballs. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit old school nowadays.
It's old school.
Yeah. When you can buy pinball machines and things
Yeah.
privately. It's a bit old school. They're more into video games and all digitalised, aren't they now?
I think
Yeah.
the gentlemen who sing that song are kind of old school too at this point.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they're-
it was Elton John, wasn't it?
no, it was the Who.
The Who.
Was it? Was it? I thought Elton John did
pinball
the
music,
vocals.
Yeah. Roger Daltrey.
Was it? Yeah, he lives not far
we,
from us.
we grew up with the
So
with
did
the,
I.
with the British invasion, so
Yeah.
so we
Yeah, he lives about 20 miles from me, Roger
okay.
Daltrey.
So that's and
And he started singing again.
yeah, he's still did a show here locally a couple summers ago. He's still
Yeah.
quite talented.
Yeah. Mind you, you've got Bruce, haven't you? You've got the boss.
We do have the boss
yeah.
over here.
Who keeps
He's still,
re-emerging.
still out
he's
and
still-
about.
still
yeah,
doing it.
Yeah. So.
A lot of famous people live in our general area.
Yeah.
You know, sort of A-listers, as they call them. 'Cause it's
What-
a nice place to live.
One last thing about Southwick, England was very important to the D-Day invasion. Tell us about what happened.
The Canadian Army was stationed around there.
Yeah.
The whole Canadian Army that came ashore on, I should know this. It's either Gold or Sword.
Yeah.
They were stationed around Southwick Green, which I showed you when you were over. That was all covered in tents. All our parks were all covered in tents with the Canadian soldiers in. And the harbour just at the bottom near where I live, which is called Shoreham Harbour, but it's actually in Southwick, but the entrance to it's in Shoreham.
Right.
So that's how it works in England. It was full of the invasion barges and things. But yeah, the whole Canadian Army was in that area. And a lot of, right up till, I don't know, about 20 years ago, as a cab driver, I used to pick up a lot of Canadian veterans coming back, one last look before, because they knew they were getting, they wouldn't be back again.
Right.
Yeah, and there's Canadian flags flying in quite a few prominent spots, remembering their sacrifice.
And if I remember correctly, your local church had been bombed by the Nazis. Is that right?
The church tower was taken out.
Yeah.
Yeah, dropped a bomb.
So very much on the front lines in World War II.
Oh yeah, very much. Well, I mean, it was Brighton next door was going to, if the Germans had invaded in 1940, was going to be the main invasion area because it's no cliffs, because a lot of along the south coast is cliffs, which good. No cliffs, so you're straight in onto a beach off, and there's no rivers. More importantly to the Germans, no rivers between Brighton and London. So there's no blowing up a bridge to slow down the advance.
Sure.
They just land and straight up the road to London. Yeah. And they were all ready to.
So when you get home in a week or so, you're going to run into somebody at the pub and they're going to say, geez, Neil, I understand you went to Southwick, USA. What did you see in Southwick, USA? So this isn't a test, but what has struck your
It's
interest
a
here?
lot nicer one than my one.
Well, thank you for that.
No, I'm not saying that.
We weren't looking for that.
It's
but-
lovely. It's lovely here, though. It's lovely. I mean, my one's so crowded. Crowded, congested roads everywhere.
Yeah, this is more open.
Yeah. I mean, you've just got so much space. Well, I could build 500,000 houses here.
We hope you'll hold on to that idea and not bring it with
absolutely.
you.
But no, it's it's lovely.
And
It
I
is,
think that's I think you've hit on two things here about that kind of define our community here. I think most of us like living here so much because there is still a lot of open space and a lot of trees and farmland and lakes.
It was not what I expected. It was not.
But also from a town government standpoint, land use planning and zoning, and who gets to build subdivisions and that type of thing. Joe is probably the number one. That and taxes are the two big issues, right? In town.
Yeah, housing.
Could I
Yep.
ask you something actually? Who decides how many houses you've got to build?
At one point, years ago, there was a stoppage of housing. We could only do so much, but it's been years. So it's wide open. It's just a matter of if it's a subdivision, if you qualify, you have to have so much square footage here in this town to put a building lot. So what you're finding is we have less and less frontage. So they're gonna go in and buy the 25-acre parcel, put the road in, with the subdivision. And now, and at least in this town and several around us, it's X amount of dollars a mile to build a road. And it's just not you gotta
so
put
that's
100
stopping it.
units in to make that dollar work to build 100 houses or condos. So I think condos is what we've been seeing
So that's
lately.
what's stopping them. Okay, fine.
We're not stopping it, just, the dollar stops it.
Yeah.
And the interest rate stops it.
Yeah.
The interest
We're
rates are,
we're told by the government.
no, we're not.
We're told by the national government.
No.
You will build X amount.
No, not yet,
And
not
we
not
were
in
very
Southwick.
lucky. We were very lucky that we were told we had to build 180 a year. This is in Ada,
Wow.
180 a year. But the councils next door were told they had to build 2,000 a year.
We'll never have that.
Yeah.
Never.
So
The other,
it's called
and,
democracy. that
and
is,
just,
by the way.
just,
It's called democracy.
Oh,
believe it.
yeah.
just, Joe served many years on another town body called the Planning Board. And so that's what, 5 or 7?
Members?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Five
matter,
five
5 or
elected
7, yeah,
members.
yeah.
And
And
so
you decide on the plans.
anything
Yeah.
involving a subdivision or something having to do with, other than building a single-family home would go just through the building inspector, I believe. But subdivision would have to come before the planning board. And they would ask all sorts of questions, there'd be requirements and so forth.
Yeah.
This tells us what you have, so R40 residential, you can only do so much. Commercial, you can only do so much. Industrial, you can only do so much. So we're very limited on, you can't put
Yeah,
housing.
we have a planning committee,
Yeah, yeah,
9.
Okay.
9, yeah.
And certain minor things, like building a house and that, as you say, the officers decide.
Yeah.
Make this.
Yeah.
But if a councillor, because we all get told, objects,
Yeah,
then it goes to the planning committee to decide.
gotcha, right.
So there is still democracy involved there, as it were.
But that green
the government make all
land
the
there
decisions we
is
do.
much of the prime agricultural
Right.
land in town. So that's always and this may not be politically correct, but a target for development. And
Yeah,
because
we're
it's
not
flat,
Yeah.
you can put a road into
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
relatively easily. And the other issue that determines housing in this town is we have, just in the central area here, we have sewers. The rest of the town has
Does not.
septic systems. And in order to qualify for a septic system, you have to, they
The
test
land
the
has to
soil.
perk, you have to
Yeah.
test the soil for seepage. You guys probably do the same thing over there.
We've got sewers. We've got
Oh,
main
period, sewers, yeah.
But we
main
have-
sewers.
Yeah.
Because if we give something planning permission, before it comes to the council, it has to be okayed by Southern Water,
Right.
who provide the water and the sewers,
Yep,
providing it and getting rid of it, electricity and highways, which isn't us either, that's the
Yeah.
county, for the roads. And none of them ever say no,
yeah,
which is really helpful because we know the sewers aren't going to cope with it.
right,
But the Southern Water won't say, well, no,
no.
because they're admitting that they're failing in their job.
Well, we all
So-
got a little of that going on,
Yeah.
It's all good, just you're gonna do so much, be it the roads or the water or the sewer, yeah,
Yeah.
yep. No doubt.
So any other parting thoughts about visiting Southwick
No, it's
USA?
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, well, good.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We had a fun time and
Yeah,
taken
yeah.
some few photos along the way and.
Well, just a few.
Always learn something new about your hometown, but I really appreciate the day that you gave me and Terry a couple of years ago when we were
Yeah.
across the pond. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, great having you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
So this is episode 17, show 25, and folks, have a great day.